Hello there and good morning. So here's something else for Priti Patel to talk about getting tough over. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please do press that little bell, but also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. It's all that the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, ever seems to be saying. We're gonna get tough over. And I'll leave you to fill in the blank. She's been saying it endlessly about channel crossings, and now she's saying it about ER protesters who've got nothing better to do than place themselves on roads and stop the rest of us earning a crust. But what really stuck in the craw about the sit down on the M25 protesters is that they were basically facilitated in their protest by the police. They were effectively aided and abetted by the very people tasked to keep the highways open and the traffic flowing. And public opinion does not take kindly to this sort of thing. So up steps Priti Patel to say that it's time for decisive action to stop this completely unacceptable and selfish behaviour by ER protesters. But the rest of us can see what's really going on quite clearly. When viewing the actions of the border farce and the police farce, with respect to certain events, it is obvious that the government and those public bodies are not only quite content for these goings-on to continue, but they wish to help accelerate them. In fact, in some very recent footage of the road protests, the police allowed protesters to set up their roadblocks. But had these people been protesting about anything else, I reckon the shields, tear gas, tasers and batons would have been deployed. So to put all our minds at rest, Priti Patel was wheeled out to say that the police has her full support, but that they must uphold the law and take decisive action. This kind of disruption is dangerous and takes police away from communities where they are needed most. And she also said that this government will not stand by and allow a small minority of selfish protesters to cause significant disruption to the lives and livelihoods of the hard-working majority. Well, there seems to be a lot in this country that is illegal where the government talks tough, but where the police never seem to get around to dealing properly with it. But put out the wrong sort of tweet and they'll be battering your door down, or say a hurty word to someone but where there's no criminal offence, and there'll be a rigorous police investigation and a non-crime hate incident logged against your name. Yes, it's all about social engineering and conditioning to accept political agendas. The UK police are now the thought police, and everything they do seems designed to nudge your behaviour in an acceptable direction. Why else do you think they do it? And if it isn't that, then why are the authorities not applying the laws equally against all protesters, but instead concentrating so much of their time on thought-type crimes instead of real physical crimes? Either that, or they're assessing those that commit criminal offences and checking their politically correct tick-box sheet to see if they are allowed to intervene. It's quite simple, Home Secretary. The overwhelming majority of us want the government and its agencies to deal with these crimes, but they also want the judiciary to mete out justice on an even and equitable basis as well. But what are we seeing? Selective policing, selective prosecutions and selective sentencing. First rant over. So, English degrees are the most expensive in the world, are they? But before I get onto that, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my Super Thanks, Patreon and PayPal supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug, with my mug on it. Links in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep this channel going. So how come getting a degree in England is the most expensive way in the world to get one? The Times is reporting that research by the OECD says that England has the most expensive undergraduate courses in the world, and also that prices have increased threefold in the last 10 years. And the report makes it look like they are not value for money, as they start focusing on web forms of teaching instead of the campus experience. But here's the real problem for everyone. Uni courses can cost up to £9,250 a year, but many use student loans to fund it. And according to a House of Commons Library report from June this year, currently more than £17 billion is loaned to around 1.3 million students in England each year. The value of outstanding loans at the end of March 2021 reached £141 billion. The government forecasts the value of outstanding loans to be around £560 billion by the middle of this century. The average debt among the cohort of borrowers who finished their courses in 2020 was £45,000. But it doesn't matter, does it? The graduates will all earn oodles more money and repay all that money with interest then. No. Here's what the Commons Library says on that. The government expects that 25% of current full-time undergraduates who take out loans will repay them in full. 25%. The rest will be written off at taxpayer expense. So, sitting around for 3 years taking courses that will not allow those that take them to earn enough to pay the costs back but dumps the debt on everyone else is a good thing, is it? Oh, but the cultural good it will do, the educationalists cry as they get paid stacks for delivering these non-financially viable courses. No wonder there's a shortage of lorry drivers, for example. And then there's the question of, did you do the right course at the right university to get the true graduate level job to consider? Is getting a diploma at eye-watering cost such a boon to society? Or was it really all born out of the thought that the more people who have degrees, the less elitist it would be? But right now everyone is talking about labour shortages. But not just in the UK. Germany has just announced it needs another 400,000 workers. In fact, looking about the globe, it appears everyone needs more workers. But there's a bit of a weird aspect to it. According to Deloitte, as economies reopen after lockdowns, reports of employers unable to find the workers they need have become ubiquitous across the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia and parts of the European Union. But, and here's the real contradiction, there is also a high level of unemployment in many of those places, although the UK does appear to be the exception here. But as Deloitte says, employers should not be having problems finding workers, but they are. And these countries all have one thing in common, a high level of graduates. So could it be that going to university doesn't provide the people with the skills we really need for the country as a whole? Education, education, education does not have to mean degree, 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 does it? So what's your opinion on Priti Patel and undergraduate education? Please like and comment below.